For years, construction workers have expressed concern that a disproportionate number of people in their industry are dying from opioid overdoses, and now new numbers from Ontario are bearing that out. According to a study released today by the Ontario Drug Policy Research Network, when it comes to opioid deaths where the person's occupation was known, more than a third worked in construction or the trades. That's based on data provided by Ontario's chief coroner from between 2018 and 2024. And those numbers affirm what tradespeople and advocates have long maintained. Construction has a drug problem, and it goes far beyond overdoses. Jase Watford is a former construction worker and a former opioid user. He's also an advocate who worked on this study. We reached him in Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Jase, when we look at the number 1,300 construction and trade workers dying from opioids just over the 6-year period, as the study was reporting. These are more than numbers, they're people, obviously. What does that number mean to you?
It's a lot, but if I'm going to be honest, in any case, in any sort of collected statistic, it's definitely underrepresented. There's a higher number, and I would wager a much higher number, to be fair.
Why is this industry in particular such an epicenter for this crisis?
There's two reasons, I think. One, it's a very kind of work hard, play hard environment. So, if you're working hard, at the end of the day, you've earned your drink, you've earned then things escalate, right? So like if you go out with your buddies, you get drunk, you can end up getting high, and then of course the high and that keeps on going and so on. But there's also, it's very hard work. And because it's very hard work, it's really hard on the body. And it's an industry where, you're concerned about paying your rent. If you're hurting, you're still reporting. So how are you going to manage that pain? It's difficult to go to doctors to get anything for what would be considered like an invisible illness if it's like your back or your muscles. So using drugs to manage especially using pain-killing drugs to manage your issues, that can escalate and of course turn into an addiction, which both of those things happen, and they happen quickly. I know people within the first year of working in a hard field getting addicted. Or they already had an addictive personality to start with. Yeah. My case, that would be that.
Yeah, did it happen quickly for you?
Oh, yeah. I want to say I was probably addicted before I even got into the field. Like I've worked a lot of different jobs, a lot of different areas. Working in a labor-intensive field for me was just a way of paying the bills. So, wherever I go, I take my problems with me.
It's no secret that the business owners, managers, bosses, they want results. They want to make money, but is there any sort of discussion or checking in, or because they also want their workers to be able to keep working, right? They have to know that people might be in pain. They've worked these jobs too. What's your sense of the understanding, if any, from the higher ups?
The bigger the company is, the bigger the liability and the bigger the responsibility. And so I've noticed from the times, because I've been out of the field for a while. So I've been working with people who are, I'm a social worker now. So I work with people who are dealing with addictions that work in that field. So what I've noticed in the changes is there's a lot more safeguards in place, a lot of stringent checks, but it's more so to protect the companies, and it's not necessarily going to support the worker. Like if a worker gets caught under the influence and they get sent home or whatever else, they will meet with, like, say, HR, and there are steps that'll put them in place to go seek treatment, but it's the company first and the person second. And the person isn't the person. It's not the human involved there. It's the body that's doing the work. There's not as much support or empathy regarding who the person is and if there's issues going on. So it's the results are the capitalism, the almighty dollar, and that's what's the foremost anywhere.
And the supply has changed also.
Oh, yeah, yes, it has. The supply now is incredibly toxic. You're finding things like fentanyl, carfentanil. It's everywhere. Opioid pills are being repressed with these agents used as cutters. You're finding fentanyl in cocaine, which makes no sense because it's a downer mixed with an upper. Like you shouldn't have to need naloxone when you're doing cocaine from the drug addict's mind. There's such a toxic supply, and it's so mixed, and that's why we're having so many deaths across the board, all in different areas.
You lost friends as well?
I've lost friends. I've lost colleagues. I've lost clients. I am now very accustomed to going to funerals.
I'm sorry.
It's the way it is.
How many coworkers, when you were in the industry, do you think you lost to from overdoses?
I've lost at least 30 that I'm aware of. But the thing is, like, if someone passes away, I don't know how they've passed away.
Right.
So like it's just like Joe's not coming back to work. Where'd he go? I don't know. He died. The majority of these deaths happen at home. They don't happen at the workplace, because at the workplace there's people around you.
Right.
But as somebody who was a drug addict, I would always use alone. So if I overdose, there's nobody going to be able to help me. I'm dead.
Is it all happening, Jase, out in the open at these sites?
Say 15 years ago, it wasn't such a black mark. You know, like you'd go out with the buddies. Sometimes your boss would even be there, and you'd all drink, maybe do some cocaine, and there you go. But now it's more hidden. The drug use is hidden. Like I don't know how many people how many friends I've had come up to me and say, "Hey, I've been struggling with this for a couple of years," and I'm like, I didn't know. When I was using, nobody knew. I would keep it out of their eyesight. I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want to be looked at as like less than or inferior, especially if I'm pain managing, which is what I do all the time, right? Like I'm in a lot of physical pain.
What kind of advice would you give to someone who's listening? Maybe they're in this field, maybe they're not, but they're struggling with this kind of addiction. Knowing what you know, what would you want them to know?
That there is support. The hardest thing, especially in a male-driven, testosterone-fueled field, it's very difficult to ask for help. It's very difficult to accept help. And it's very difficult to come to terms with the fact that you might need that. We're at a point now with the way that the toxic drug supply has infected everywhere, that people who are addicted are sacrificing the future to make the present more manageable. So if I'm using today to manage some pain, there's no guarantee that I'm going to make it to tomorrow. And that's the scariest thing. So if you've got a family, you've got people that you love or people that love you, reach out. The bravest thing that you could do is ask for help.
Good to speak with you, Jase. I appreciate this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jase Watford is a former construction worker and former opioid user. We reached him in Thunder Bay, Ontario.